So what if a story wasn't something you just watched, but something you could actually live inside? Now, I'm not talking about movies or even the video games that you're used to. We're talking about a totally new art form, something called Synthia, and it's on the verge of completely changing how we tell stories. Okay, to really wrap our heads around what makes Synthia so different, we've got to ask a super basic question. What even is a story? For, centuries, it's been a recording of reality, a fixed path from point A to point B. But what if it could be a living reality, something that grows and changes right along with you? For more than 100 years, our most powerful way of telling stories, cinema, has basically been a story on rails. It just moves along this single, unchangeable track. And look, it's an amazing way to tell a story, but that track definitely has its limits. I mean, think about it, right? Traditional stories, they're all kind of flattened out into a single timeline. They move from a beginning that's already set to an end that's already set. That path is always going to be the same, no matter how many times you hit play. And that's the real problem. For all its simple elegance, that beautiful, straight line just can't hold true complexity. The entire depth of a world gets compressed just to fit onto that one timeline. So naturally, the next step in storytelling tried to solve this problem. Interactive stories, like video games, they came along and seemed to have the answer by finally giving us choices. And this adds a whole new dimension, right? It turns our straight line into more of a map with crossroads. You get to choose which path to take. But, and this is a big but, it's still just a map. Every single possible route, every potential ending has already been drawn out by the creator beforehand. So what does that mean? Well, it means it's really just an illusion of freedom. Yeah, you're free to choose, but you're only choosing from a menu of outcomes that the creator already thought up. Your possibilities are, in the end, totally finite. Okay, but what if a story wasn't the map at all? What if it was the territory itself, a living, breathing universe that you can actually explore? This right here is the revolutionary idea behind Synthia. And this is basically what that universe looks like. See, Synthia isn't a set of pre-written paths. It's a huge network of possibilities. You start at one single point, but from there, an infinite number of unique story paths can just emerge. And it's all based on a set of core rules, not a script. So let's lock in on that key term. An emergent narrative is a story that literally writes itself in real time. It's not scripted, it just comes into being dynamically from how characters interact with each other and the rules of their world. And this really shows you the new role of the author. They're not writing a story anymore, they are architecting an entire universe. So on one side, you've got the authored constraints. Those are the laws, the physics of this world. And on the other, you've got the emergent nodes. Those are the infinite, unscripted moments that can happen within those rules. So how in the world do you build a living universe? Well, it's not about writing a script, it's more like planting a seed and then defining the fundamental rules of that world's reality. At the very heart of every Synthia story is something called the seed. You can think of this as the narrative's DNA. It's a blueprint of core rules, logic, and these unchangeable truths that allows a whole universe of stories to just grow out of it. And from that one seed, the whole world is built from the ground up. It starts with artifacts. These are like the basic building blocks, the atoms of meaning. These get grouped together to form nodes, which are key story moments. Then you have these autonomous characters called thespians who interact with the nodes. And all of this happens inside latent spaces, which is basically the vast AI-interpreted universe of everything that could possibly happen. And get this, instead of characters that are scripted, Synthia is populated by neural thespians. These are AI-driven agents that have their own goals, their own memories, their own personalities. They make their own decisions in real time, creating that emergent narrative as they go, and they often end up surprising even their own creator. So when you put all of this together, you get something that is genuinely new. Some people are already calling Synthia the next great evolution in human expression, a true 11th art form. This table just lays it all out so clearly. In cinema, you're just a viewer. In games, you're an interactive player. But in Synthia, you become an explorer, a co-creator. The story variation goes from being identical every time to having some branching paths to having infinite emergent timelines. It's a massive leap. There's a really great way to sum this all up. Cinema records. Games simulate. Synthia becomes. We're moving way beyond just watching a recording or playing inside a simulation and into experiencing something that becomes its own reality while we're right there in it.
And what this really means is that Synthia isn't just a new tool for telling the same old stories. No, it's a whole new paradigm where the story, the world, and you, the observer, are all intertwined in this incredible dance of infinite possibility. And all of this leaves us with a final, absolutely fascinating question to think about for the future of storytelling itself. What happens when a story is no longer some fixed thing we just consume, but a living universe we can actually inhabit? The possibilities? Well, they're just starting to unfold.